So my wife and I have been married for around 16 years, and recently I discovered that she has been cheating on me for the past 4 years. I found out by hiring a private investigator, and to be honest, I wasn't really surprised. She'd been having an affair with my own brother all that time, and I had no idea about it, I guess. But here's the interesting part. I had actually planned everything out right from the beginning. When we got married, I included an infidelity clause in our prenuptial agreement, and I don't think she even remembers that. She always thought she was clever and discreet, but I've learned about people's true nature from a young age. I've been through some extremely traumatizing experiences in my past. I was mistreated, neglected, and manipulated. This has made me incredibly wary and distrusting of not only my friends and family, but even my wife. And you know what? I have good reasons for it. In fact, I never really trusted anyone in my life. I have always been cautious about people's intentions, and this situation just confirmed it once again. When I blindsided her with divorce papers, she started crying and desperately tried to persuade me not to leave. She said she would tell me anything about her affair that I wanted to know, but I didn't care. All I want is to get her out of my life, and I want my brother gone too. This has been my approach throughout my life. If someone hurts me, I just leave. I've done it to my own parents before. I don't know why she thought she would be any different. This stoic attitude has been with me for as long as I can remember. Our bed life was active. I showed affection. I'm a successful startup multimillionaire, and I regularly work out. I have no idea why she couldn't just talk to me. I even asked her 3 years ago if she would be interested in an open relationship or polyamory, and she clearly said no. So I don't know if she's just selfish or what her deal is. But here are my questions. Why did she say no when I suggested an open relationship? Why do cheaters cry and become aggressive when confronted? Isn't this what they wanted? What do cheaters expect to happen when they're caught? Do they expect forgiveness? Because based on what I see in the subreddit, cheaters don't really change. So forgiveness is unlikely, lol. Why did she even try to gaslight me when I confronted her? I didn't care if she denied it. I had already made up my mind and just wanted her to sign the papers. I had proof. Haha. By the way, I'm going to sue my brother for alienation of affection. But why is she defending him? He has a wife and kids, yet tonight I'll be exposing him as my little petty revenge. So it's a double whammy. Why should I suffer alone, right? LOL. I'll add a few more questions later. I have to go to a meeting. I just feel indifferent about this whole situation. And she's mad at me for feeling this way. Now she's saying I never loved her. Well, I did until I found out the truth. Damn, I don't know what's wrong with people these days. Everyone expects me to be angry, but I'm long past that. I just want people like her out of my life. And yes, I believe in seeking revenge and then moving on. It's my way of healing. Please don't judge me for that. I went out for some drinks with a couple of my friends just to drown my sorrows. I opened up to them about what my wife had done, and to my surprise, they weren't even shocked. They had always spoken badly about her, but I always defended her because she was my wife and I loved her. Turns out, I had been wearing rose-colored glasses and couldn't see the messed up warning signs. When I came back home, I was a bit drunk, and I finally expressed what was truly on my mind. I told her that she had embarrassed me in front of my friends and family, that she was only using me for my money, and that she's a gold digger. I couldn't wait for her to be out of my life. And you know what she had to say in response? She told me not to sue my brother. Seriously, what the hell? After experiencing this double betrayal and having my heart broken, she couldn't even apologize or tell me the truth. I had even offered her an open relationship before because I was frequently away on business, trying my damn best to provide for my family. And this is the gratitude I receive. But here's where the story gets even more messed up. When I confronted my brother about it, we got into a fight, and I ended up beating him up. I exposed him in front of his wife, kids, and our parents. His son, who's 17, went ballistic and nearly jumped in to fight his own dad. His wife was in tears, my soon-to-be ex-wife was crying, and our parents just stayed silent the whole time. When things calmed down, my brother confessed that our parents knew about the affair the entire time. Then, they had the audacity to say that they kept quiet because it's none of our business. At this point, I feel like giving up on life. My brother went on to taunt me, saying that he slept with my wife, and that they did all sorts of disgusting things in my bed. I simply told him that I will be suing both him and my wife. I don't know if I'll win, but I just want to piss them off now. When I talked to my parents, I made it clear that they are messed up, and I never want to see them again. I never want to see any of them again. Back when I was hurt in the past, they took the side of the person who hurt me. They really took his side. They took my brother's side. And now this, I'm just done. They've won. To all those who said I deserve to be cheated on because of my trust issues, this is exactly why I'll never trust anyone. I've tried therapy, read books, and put in the effort, and look where it got me. Back to square one. At this point, I'd rather die alone than be around people like this. I worked hard to provide for my family, and my parents and I even paid for my brother's college education when we come from a poor country, and I brought them to the U.S. This is the gratitude I receive. I can't believe I spent over $6 million on purchasing EB-5 visas for them. I know this isn't a therapy group, and I apologize for all the swearing and anger. I thought I wasn't angry, but when everything came to light, I'm just disgusted. A second story. Let me tell you about this girl I used to date back in my late teens and early 20s. We were together for a good year and a half, maybe even longer. She worked at a clothing store in the mall, and one Friday afternoon, I dropped her off at work. But here's the strange part. As she walked into the store, she quickly walked back out, tearing up, and said, "I just wanted to see you again and say goodbye." I thought it was really odd, but she had to get back to work, so we didn't have time to talk things through. She mentioned she was going on a trip with a friend, probably to Disney or someplace like that, over the weekend, so I just told her to give me a call when she arrived. Now, this was back in 1997 before cell phones were common. I tried paging her that night, but she never called back. I didn't have any other way to reach her, so I figured they were probably at a park or somewhere without a payphone. Fast forward to Saturday morning, around 10 or 11 a.m., and I'm sitting at my parents' house when the phone rings. It's my mom's best friend, asking to speak to me on the phone, which struck me as a bit unusual. She then asks, "Doesn't your girlfriend drive a red Nissan Sentra with those specific stickers on the back?" I confirmed that she did, and then she drops the bombshell. "Well, I don't know what's going on, but I saw her pull up to my next-door neighbor's house yesterday, and she ended up leaving with some guy in a car. They seemed pretty close." My heart sank at that moment because everything started to make sense. I asked for more details about her neighbor, and it turns out that her neighbor's son was her ex-boyfriend of 5 years who had joined the Navy. It's such a small world, and the chances of her ending up right next to my mom's best friend were incredibly slim. So I kept paging her multiple times, even paging with an emergency, but I never received any response. Obviously, Saturday night was a sleepless one for me. Finally, on Sunday around 2 p.m., she calls. She asks what the emergency was, and I play dumb, just asking her how her trip to Disney was. She starts talking as if everything is normal, but then I confront her about my mom's best friend seeing her with someone else. She admits to everything and starts apologizing like crazy. I don't really remember the details, but that was pretty much the end of it. It was a complete shock because I truly believed she was the love of my life. We had so much in common and were really close. This betrayal came out of nowhere. Later, I come to discover that she actually cheated on her ex-boyfriend with me while he was serving in the Navy, and I had no clue about it throughout our entire year and a half together. She had been writing to him all along, and when he returned, they basically got back together. Despite all that, about 6 months later, she came crawling back, and stupidly, we continued our on-again, off-again relationship for another 5 years. We would break up and get back together. As far as I know, she never cheated on me again, but who knows? The last year we were together was awful. Hardly any closeness. I have to admit, back then I was weak, and I guess I was holding on to the idea of how things were in the first year. She looked exactly like Kate Winslet, especially during the Titanic craze. I can't tell you how many times we were stopped by people asking her for an autograph. I swear they could be twins separated at birth. It happened at least a few times a week, and even more when we were out partying downtown. The second time I got cheated on was with another girl I was dating for about a year. Little did I know, she had also cheated on her boyfriend at that time to be with me. We were actually living together during that period. I had experienced a layoff, and to be honest, I had become pretty pathetic. But I still treated her like a queen, although I also did some really stupid things. Anyway, I started feeling like something was off, so I installed a keylogger on the computer. I ended up getting her email password and read her emails, where I found messages to her best friend saying things like, "It sucks, I really like this person at work, but I have to deal with this stupid boyfriend." It was incredibly depressing to see the person I love talking about how I was hindering her from cheating on me. It turned out she'd only made out with that guy, nothing more, but I immediately broke up with her. What sucks is that we had to continue living together for another 3 or 4 months. It was tough. So basically what I've learned is that the saying is true. If a girl cheats on someone to be with you, she'll likely cheat on you too. Sadly, I didn't know that either of my exes had cheated to be with me. And now I've been married for 9 years, have 2 wonderful kids, and I'm with a woman who is 100 times better in every way. I just hope she didn't cheat on someone to be with me. Third story. Me, a 25-year-old woman, and my fiancé Asher, who's 29, have been together for almost 7 years. We got engaged about 6 months ago. We've spent my entire adult life together, and while he's not perfect, he has always loved me and treated me with not just respect, but with deep admiration, like he idolizes me. People have noticed our relationship and commented on how obvious it is that he loves me so much. I've never doubted Asher's devotion. When things were rough between us before we got engaged, I was dealing with mental health issues that affected our relationship. He's the one who took me to therapy for 2 years and brought us back together, even when I was a total mess. We've been through tough times like grief and loss, graduations, and he has always supported me, even when I felt hopeless. He's the best supporter I could ever imagine. Yesterday, Thursday, I received a message from a woman named Jay who claimed she met Asher on Tinder and went on 4 dates with him over the past 2 weeks before realizing he's not single. When I first saw the message, I almost ignored it because I was so certain that this couldn't be true. Asher is not the kind of guy I would ever expect to cheat. He has experienced being cheated on in the past, not by me, and he considers closeness even more sacred than I do. He has reassured me multiple times that he's thrilled that we've only been close with each other. Although he once lied about a specific act, claiming it was only with me. But I found out years later that he had done it with one other woman. He said he thought I already knew, but I thought it was in the past and that he's mine now. And he has never given me any reason to believe he would look at another woman. He doesn't even have many female friends because he wants to be respectful to me, even though I've told him countless times that I trust him and don't care about the gender of his friends. Jay's messages contained texts from a contact saved under a nickname Asher used as a child. She said he told her he was seeking casual closeness and showed me memes he sent her, romantic text messages, including one with a unique typo that Asher's phone sometimes makes, and a picture of them together at a restaurant, sharing a dessert, which she claimed was taken by a waiter. She also sent me a voicemail of Asher saying he had deleted the app. Didn't specify which app, but it was probably Tinder. I later called Jay on the phone, and she mentioned that they hadn't had any physical contact, but they had been on 4 dates, and she felt that I needed to know. After seeing the messages, I called Asher directly to ask him if he was dating other women. Honestly, I couldn't believe it was true, so it didn't occur to me to hold back my concerns, so to speak. Asher appeared shocked and denied the accusations, but I was shaken and insisted that he come over so I could check his phone. We've always known each other's passwords, so I never felt the need to snoop before. He immediately came over and handed me his phone. I didn't find any messages or calls between Asher and Jay's number. He could have easily deleted them, but the memes I saw in Jay's photos were also in Asher's camera roll. When I asked Asher to explain the photo with that woman, he said that Jay was the wife of a potential client. Asher claimed the husband took the picture, and he was annoyed because the husband showed up very late for the meeting, only joining them for dessert. He thought it was strange that they wanted a picture with him during a business meeting. He couldn't explain the voicemail and admitted that the evidence looked really bad. There are a few things that confuse me. Weeks ago, before I heard from Jay, Asher mentioned that he would be meeting a couple who seemed interested in becoming his clients. He had told me about the 2 meetings in advance and mentioned that he was frustrated the first time when the husband arrived late and joined them for dessert. He said he felt uncomfortable sitting with another woman because he only wanted to go out with me. I didn't think much of it and reassured him that I trusted him and was proud of his hard work. He also mentioned again on Monday night that the husband didn't show up for the lunch meeting, and he expressed frustration because it seemed like the clients weren't interested after all. However, despite admitting to those 2 meetings, he completely denied Jay's claims of 2 additional encounters. My family and I went through everything Jay sent me because I just couldn't believe it, and they were just as baffled. My dad even said that before yesterday, he would have bet all his money that Asher would be the last person he knows to do something like this. My parents sat with me and Asher as he tried to make sense of all the different pieces of the puzzle. We were all desperately hoping for another explanation. Asher told us that the picture was taken last Thursday, and it was actually Jay's husband who took the photo of him and Jay, not the waiter like Jay claimed. He said he couldn't remember everything that happened, but he was devoted to me and my family, and he would never be unfaithful to me. He was horrified by the suspicion, but understood why we were skeptical. We couldn't believe it either. None of us ever thought Asher was capable of this, so my family kept asking him to challenge each individual piece of evidence. We even suggested that Jay's messages might be part of a scam. Asher insisted that he only communicated with Jay in person, and that both meetings were arranged through texts with her husband. He denied sending Jay any memes, but mentioned that he might have sent them to her husband. He said the photo of them having dessert was taken by Jay's husband, who joined them at the end of the first meeting. He claimed that even before he met me, he had never used Tinder, and he showed us proof that he had never downloaded the app. The App Store didn't show reinstall, only install. He insisted that the use of his childhood nickname could be a coincidence, or that he might have mentioned it casually. He explained that the large dessert was ordered by Jay to share with her husband, and he only ordered a small ice cream for himself. We all listened to Asher's excuses, and even though the evidence was right there, it was hard to believe because this was so unexpected. My dad sent the voicemail to one of his tech-savvy friends who analyzed it and said it didn't seem to be altered. We looked into Jay's credibility, and while there were some inconsistencies, they weren't impossible to explain. Then, this morning, my dad took a chance and drove 4 hours to the restaurant to ask them to show him the security tape. We hoped it would prove that Jay's husband did take the picture of Asher and Jay. The video from the restaurant showed Asher and Jay entering together. It captured a waiter stopping to take their photo with the dessert, and Asher was seen eating the dessert, even though he claimed he ordered his own. There was no husband who showed up at the end of the meeting, as Asher had said, and it clearly showed Asher and Jay leaving together. I still can't wrap my head around all of this, because it's so out of character for Asher. He insists that Jay wasn't a date, that they met through work and not Tinder, and that he simply forgot he canceled his ice cream order and shared the dessert Jay ordered. He admitted to lying about Jay's non-existent husband because he felt pressured by my family, but he's adamant that he would never betray me. He emphasized how much he despises cheaters and always has. He sobbed and repeated the sweet things he tells me every day, affirming that I'm the only person he's ever loved, that he wants to spend his life with me, that our closeness is fulfilling, and that he only wants my happiness. Maybe I'm foolish, but I do believe that he loves me. I pleaded with him to confess so we could work through it, but he said, I can't admit to something I know I didn't do. I told him I still envision a future with him, but I find it hard to trust him about the supposed business meetings. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that this is real, and honestly, I'm having a hard time fully accepting that it actually happened. Part of me still holds on to the belief that it must be some sort of misunderstanding because the person I know just doesn't behave like this. I had complete trust in Asher, and the thought of living without him is unimaginable. He's not just my partner, he's my best friend, and I've never shared such a deep connection, both physically and emotionally, with anyone else. Despite everything, I still see him as the kind, loving, and devoted person I've known for years. It's incredibly lonely to have my main source of support be the person who caused this pain, and I expressed that feeling to him. I told him how isolating it is to rely on him for comfort in a situation like this. He admitted he feels the same way and can't believe we're going through this. For now, I've made the decision to continue the relationship. I let Asher know that I am aware he cheated. But since there's no concrete proof, I'm choosing to give him the benefit of the doubt and desperately wish that I never came across this information. I explained that people make mistakes, although he disagreed and said cheating isn't a mistake, and he claims he didn't cheat. And considering our history together, I want to work on rebuilding our relationship. I asked him if he wants an open relationship, but he firmly said no. He assured me that if he had cheated, he would tell me, but he didn't, and he hopes that one day I'll believe him. We agreed to put our wedding plans on hold for a few weeks and focus on healing our relationship. I'm not ready to give up on the years of companionship we've shared. Part of me keeps thinking that I wish Jay had never told me about what happened, although I do appreciate her showing solidarity, and I genuinely hope she has a positive future, because I was blissfully unaware of the situation. I really wish I could make Asher confess, because his denial is just confusing me so much. I wish I had another source of the warm and comforting feelings I get when I cuddle with Asher, because his embrace has always made me feel incredibly safe. I wish I could pretend that none of this ever happened, or that he would tell me why I'm not enough, or that I was attractive /thin /smart / socially adept good enough to find love without having to start all over again. I wish I had a better grasp of reality in general, because I often feel confused and overwhelmed in most situations, especially since I'm not neurotypical, and Asher used to be the one constant in my life before this happened. Most of all, I wish I could turn back time and ignore Jay's message, or that Asher never did this in the first place.